is Laura, and I am coming to you from the Pacific Northwest in the States. And it's been a long time since I spoke to you, so I'm very happy to be here again, sharing all of the knitting goodness and all the crafting that I've been up to lately. So yeah, I hope you're keeping well, and I can't wait to share with you what's been going on lately. Last time we spoke, I was in Wales still, in the UK. That's where we were living, and we were about to move house to Oregon in the States, and we have moved, and it's been really good overall. Like, everything has gone very smoothly, and we're really settling in here, and it's been great to be with my mom and to see my brother and my sister and their families, and it's been okay. Like, Mabel, my daughter, who's coming up on 2 now, 2 years old, has done really well. She did really well on the journey over the long international flight, and she's just, she's young and thinks it's all an adventure and really fun. So yeah, it's gone really well. And we've had a really great summer. We've spent a lot of time at the river, which is just down the way. We're just 5 minutes walk from the river here. So that's really amazing. It's a really beautiful area here. And so we try to go outside every day and take Mabel outside to get some air and see the river and go to the park, which is just in walking distance as well. So yeah, we've been really enjoying getting settled in here. I have to say, settling in to a new home again, which we've done quite a few times in our time together, Mark and I have, since we were married. But doing it again with a little one has been challenging for me and has kind of suppressed my creative mojo, I think. And so for a while, I was just not interested in creating anything, probably because I wasn't really wanting to make a mess of things that were already a mess, and I couldn't find the inspiration to do it. So I was very delighted when I started to feel like interested in yarn again and interested in making something. And strangely, it occurred to me on this extremely hot day in the middle of summer, I just said to myself, I need to knit sweaters. So I got very excited about that. Of course, I didn't knit sweaters on that day because it was just too hot. But I quickly bought some yarn for our next sweaters as a family, our family sweaters. So that's very exciting. And that's kind of the start of how things got rolling for me. I guess I just felt settled enough to start thinking creatively about woolly goodness. I was already thinking creatively about how to settle in and how to organize our house and where to meet people in town, getting to the library and finding our groceries, which actually Mark does a lot of anyway. But just those types of things, where when you're new, you just have to think about a lot when you're new to an area. So yeah, but I'm glad that I could shift gears and, just start thinking about knitting again. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So I have a few finished objects, and the first one I want to talk about, actually I started, I think it was a few years ago now, and I had almost finished, and then I moved countries, and I think I was moving from, I don't know, it was either the UK or the States, one of those, to Tanzania. And so I thought to myself, it's a shawl, and I thought, I don't think I'm going to be wearing a shawl in East Africa. Not very often anyway, so I thought I would leave it behind. But I was like on the bind off. I was ready to be done. So when I found it, when I came back to the States, which is where it was, so I must have been going from the States, it was like just a few more stitches of bind off, and then I was done. So it was very easy to finish this object lately. And I'll show you. It's called the Shawl shawl. And it is a beautiful triangular shawl. It's the pattern is written by, I think, Leela Robb. I've got my notes here, so I'm just checking. Yep, Leela Robb. And it has this beautiful lace detailing. And as you can see, I've used 3 colors, and it's the most delicious yarn I probably have ever worked with. It is the Fibre Company's Road to China Light in the 3 colors, which are Smoky Quartz, Hematite, and Moonstone. And I actually think it goes Smoky Quartz, I think, is the top one here, the darker one. And then Moonstone is the middle here. And then Hematite at the bottom. I think I might have got them backwards, but I can, I'll link to them below. But yeah, it's just so squishy and drapey and beautiful. It's baby alpaca, camel, cashmere, and silk. So as you can imagine, this is gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. So I definitely want to work with this again. So it's on the small side. And I think with shawls so far in my experience, I tend to I don't know if it's, don't want to call it laziness because I'm generally not lazy. It's maybe, I don't know if it's boredom. I don't know what it is, but I tend to go with the smaller size of a shawl so far. I want that to change. I want to make bigger ones because I enjoy a bigger shawl when I'm wearing it. So you can see it works. It will work as a nice little throw on kind of scarf style shawl. But it wouldn't really work very well as an around the shoulder drapey shawl. It's okay, but it's definitely not, it's kind of lacking. It's not like a big blankety shawl. And it's also a fairly lightweight and thin shawl. So if I wanted it to be snuggly, then I probably should have kept going, and made a bigger one, but I love it. It's beautiful. So I'm definitely not disappointed with it at all. It's just so lovely. And the pattern, from what I recall, it was a few years ago now, is really good. It's a really good pattern. And I want to say the lace was a memorizable, an easy to remember pattern that you could get into your head. So that's a bonus. So yeah, that's my Shawl. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else for me to say about this, except I probably want to do another one. So yeah, that's my first finished object. So my second finished object is one that I talked about, I think it was last time, and it's something for my daughter, and it's sitting right behind me on the shelf here, so I'll just snag it. Yeah, it's this very, very cute little bunny. And last time I showed you this bunny, it was, I think, in pieces, limbs and head and ears. And now it's 3D and just squishy and soft and beautiful, in my opinion. So yeah, this is a pattern called I think it's the Bunny Girl in a Dotty Dress by Julie Williams, and I've definitely knitted this one before. So, I mean, I love the pattern. Julie is an excellent pattern writer, and she has such cute, cute animals to knit up. If you're interested, I would definitely take a look. She's been doing this a long time and developing her animals and their facial features for a long time. So she's got some real skill there, and she also tells you very clearly step by step how to try to emulate what she's doing. So I find that really helpful. I'm still trying to perfect mine. I don't think I've quite achieved Julie's standard, but I'm working on it. So anyway, yeah, the yarn that I used for the bunny is Rowan felted tweed and Rowan kidsilk haze held together, held double like that. And that's how you get this real halo effect, like a really fuzzy bunny. And I used that at the recommendation of Julie's recommendation. She has really great blog posts as well about which yarns she prefers to use. She's coming from the UK, but I think a lot of the yarns that she uses are actually accessible here in the States too, and probably Canada, and maybe other places around the world too. So I would definitely take a look still. And yeah, so I like to use her recommended yarns because she has so much experience. You know, she's tested so many on her animals. So sometimes with other projects, I like to kind of veer off into my own creative yarn decisions. But with this type of thing, when you're really trying to construct something that's 3D and like bring it to life, I feel like more confident using somebody else's recommendation who has more experience than I do. So that's why I went with that. And I'm really happy I did. Rowan is gorgeous. And it was pretty luxurious to work with. So without disrobing or like, you know, undressing this whole bunny, I thought I would just kind of lift up her dress. I don't know which is worse. And just show you the little bunny tail here. So you just sew on a little tail. All the limbs are sewn on, and this is all knit flat and seamed. All the bunny body construction is flat and seamed. And actually the seaming does give a lot of structure to the body parts, which you kind of want. You don't want it to be super floppy. I mean, at least not with this style of bunny. It's kind of nice that she has some, I don't know, some structure. She's not like all noodly. And I used, I think she asked for a certain yarn for the eyes, maybe even a cotton, but I used, I think it was Donegal, Studio Donegal Darny yarn, held double. And my eyes, I would prefer to be like receding a little bit more, and I just didn't pull hard enough. But anyway, I like them overall. The nose is actually embroidery floss, the nose and mouth. And I think it turned out well. I think she also suggests that you use like a cotton yarn maybe, but I don't have any black cotton yarn, so I do have loads of embroidery floss. So I went with that. All of her clothes are also Julie's patterns, and she has just so many like to choose from. She's developed all the different clothings that you could ever want. And she also has these basket, patterns, and mine turned out kind of wonky. But there are other ones too, other styles like a bolga basket. And yeah, this one's going to be kind of like a market basket. So yeah, I think the shawl or the scarf is a supplement. It's the seed stitch scarf that I've done here. And I think I did it in the Fibre Company Luma leftovers, and in their Grenadine color, which is beautiful. And then this cardigan is so sweet. Let me just take off her scarf. So the cardigan is knit up in La Bien Aimée Merino Super Sock, I think it's called, leftovers in the, what color is that? Northman. Yeah, Northman colorway, which I think is beautiful. And then the dress is knit up in cotton, and it is, it's her seasonal dresses pattern and Susie Marie's bunny dress modifications. So it makes more of a flared dress. So it's more floofy, and I also added a little bit of a motif here, which is also Julie's supplement. It's like a little mushroom toadstool supplement where it's done in duplicate stitch, and I used embroidery floss there. And she does kind of a red and white traditional mushroom, but I decided to do more of like an autumnal color. So the dress itself is knit up in Yarn and Colors Must Have Cotton. And I'll link down below, of course, so you can get your hands on this if you want. But yeah, I think it all went really smoothly. I think the only thing with the clothing was that I did change, I made some modifications on the sweater. I think I just changed the increases to maybe I think make one right, make one left. Instead, she was doing like kind of a bit of a yarn over with the twisted, twisting them on the way back. I don't know. Anyway, it's in her pattern. But I decided to do a different one, and I don't think there's not much of a difference. I think I prefer my increase for myself, and knitting it and just the way it looks for me. But of course her patterns are written very well, so you wouldn't have any problem with it. It just was my preference. So anyway, my daughter loves it. She has played with the bunny a lot, and it's getting lots of love. So I am sure that I will be making more of these in the future. And in fact, a little bird told me that my nieces might be ready for some more animals, and I have made them a couple of bears in the past, so I'll probably make them either bunnies or something else. We'll see. So anyway, that's just a little toy knitting for you. Let's put her back with her basket. There we go. Okay, so I think that's it for finished objects for me now. I have a few works in progress, and going back to how I got my mojo back with the idea of sweater knitting, I decided to purchase a whole lot of Letslope because I love Letslope and I love Icelandic sweater design. So I'm on an Icelandic sweater kick. And I have knit one for Mark in the past, so I think I showed that maybe in my first episode, my first YouTube episode, and I think that one was I'm completely blanking, the Radari. And I'm now going to knit one for Mabel for the winter, and then I'm going to knit one for myself, and then I might knit another one for myself, or I might knit one for Mark, so that we can each have one this year. It depends how selfish I get. But I started with Mabel's, and the pattern is called Birgitta by Hélène Magnússon, and it's a beautiful cardigan, or it's actually written both ways in the pattern, beautiful pullover or cardigan. You make the decision as you go, and it has, she shows you options for different color work, and I chose the cardigan, and I chose this color pattern, and the main color is this sort of medium brown, and it's called Murky, and I'll put all of the colors below in the description. And then we've got like this beautiful blue, and then there's this kind of lavender lilac-y color and a nice bright pink, which when we were unboxing the yarn and she saw the bright pink amongst what was a lot of brown and blue and murky, she was like, oh, and I had no idea that she liked pink. I mean, she's probably been socialized to like pink, but I like to think that she just likes it for herself. But anyway, she loved the pink, so she's very excited about that. And then at the end here is this beautiful tealy turquoisey aqua-y color, and I just love the way it's looking on the murky background. I wanted something that would kind of generally match her hair with the murky. She's more blonde at the moment, but she's becoming more and more brunette, I think. And then her eyes are this lovely medium blue, and so I wanted to use blue, I knew, but I also wanted to add a festive pop, which is the pink here. So yeah, it's going really well overall. However, I don't know if you can tell, if you can notice anything about this cardigan, besides the fact that it has a bunch of yarn hanging out the front and it's not finished. Do you notice anything? If you don't, it's okay, you're in good company, because I didn't notice. But my mom mentioned that the arms were looking a little bit long, and I didn't really think much of it because I thought to myself, and I think I even said to her, I knit it according to the pattern, so it should be okay. But then I kept looking at it and thinking, the arms shouldn't be longer than the body, at least not that much longer than the body. And I went back to the pattern and I looked and I realized that I reversed some numbers, and instead of, it's weird, my mind did something weird. It was like 21 centimeters length, and I changed that to 12 inches. Somehow in my mind I changed it. Anyway, so we've got perfectly symmetrical 12-inch arms that are way too long, I think. And so I'm going to be doing some sweater surgery, but that's okay because I can do it. And I haven't steeked yet. I'm going to steek soon. I'm going to steek first, and then I'm going to try it on Mabel on a cool day. Not right now because it's getting cooler, but it's not cool enough for Letslope, I don't think. And just kind of measure what her arm needs in terms of length, and then make my decision for how I go about sweater surgery. So yeah, it's the challenge of being a knitter with other things going on around you. Even if I didn't have other things going on around me, like no toddler or whatever, I probably would have still made this mistake. It's just me and numbers. I don't find numbers super intuitive. They just kind of fly in and out of my head, and I have to kind of look at them and look at them again. And anyway, but I love the pattern. The only modification I made was that Hélène asks you to do something that would preserve the elbows here, where you kind of do some short rows. And I don't know if I was doing it wrong or something, but it just didn't look right to me, and I figured I could probably do without, because I don't know, I just thought I'd wing it. So maybe I'm gonna regret that, but I feel like it's okay and I can try again another time, because I'm sure this is not going to be the last sweater I knit for Mabel. So yeah, I'm loving it. I will hopefully update you after I've steeked. My first steek, I can't believe it, but it is my first steek. So I think I'll be doing a needle felting securing of the steek stitches here, just to be sure. It's Letslope, so it's super sticky. I'm not worried about it coming apart on me, but I just want to be extra sure, and I do have the tools for needle felting, so I thought I would do that. But yeah, I would recommend the pattern so far. I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait for Mabel to be running around in her little Letslope sweater in the winter. It's going to be cute. So my next work in progress is one that I mentioned a while back, I think. I think it was when I had my sad shawl demise that got eaten by moths. Mark's beautiful hand spun was being made into a fade shawl, free your fade shawl, and I discovered that I had been eaten, and I was super sad. And then I had another shawl that was felted. Anyway, you can go back and see all the sadness in my other episode. But I thought I really need to knit a shawl at that stage because I was feeling so sad. But I didn't get around to it, probably because we were going to be moving. And I didn't really have the brain space for it. But I did recently cast on a Fleur shawl by Espace Tricot. And it's a really great pattern. It's free. I should say that. It's free, so that's cool. It has two versions. There's one that's kind of like bright, or can be bright anyway, and has some striping and big bobbles. And then there's one that's like another version that's a little bit more subdued, single color, although you could add stripes to that as well, but the bobbles are a bit smaller. And I chose to go with the second version. And I'm sorry, it's all kind of jumbled up here because it's getting big for the needles. But you can see my progress so far. I'm knitting with a 100% alpaca yarn that we discovered when we were in South Africa. I guess it's been 6 years now, 6 years ago when we were in South Africa, we happened upon this farm. We didn't think that we were going to be able to find it, but we ended up finding it. And we were driving around and we found it, and this beautiful alpaca farm, and it had just changed ownership, and the new owners were like sorting through all of the alpaca that had already been milled and spun up into cones and balls, and just beautiful, beautiful yarn, and didn't quite know what they were going to do with it, because I think they were like transitioning into maybe using the alpaca from the alpacas for like duvets or something, some other kind of process for that fiber. And so they weren't long-term thinking, I think, to do that. I don't know. I haven't really kept up with them, to be honest, and we were trying to find them online and we couldn't find them, so I can't even tell you the name of the farm, which is sad. I'll keep looking, but yeah. So anyway, I got this really great alpaca, this gray, it's kind of maybe a DK weight, maybe almost worsted, and it was such a good deal in the end because they were really trying to like give it out, you know, and I got this huge cone of it, and so I've already knit a sweater, which I found worked for a while, but the sweater is a little bit drapey, too drapey, as you can imagine. But that was my first experience knitting with 100% alpaca, so I didn't really know. And now I'm onto this shawl, and I have loads left. So it's a very sturdy ball of alpaca, which Mark, rolled up for me from the cone because it was just getting uncomfortable to knit from the cone. So I said, can you roll this up for me? And before I knew it, like the same day, it was like in my hands like this. So thank you, Mark. So the pattern's going really well. I love it. I think it's going to be super squishy and warm, and the bobbles are easy to make. I've done bobbles before, and I remember Kristin, Voolenvine, she has a tutorial on bobbles, which it's really good. So I'd recommend that. It's just a bunch of garter stitch loveliness. So I would highly recommend this pattern. So far, I'm loving it. There's one thing that I'm anticipating I might change. It's not a huge modification, but just at the end, I've noticed at the end when you're on your last row or last couple of rows, it's a bobble row. And I see like how it can kind of look like a little detail on the edge, and that's cool. I think I might prefer a garter edge, but I'm not really sure. So I anticipate I might add a garter border at the end and leave it that way at the cast off edge, but I might not. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, loving that, and I cannot wait to have a big shawl. I'm going big this time. So I'm going to have the yarn for it, so I'm going to go big. And I will keep you updated. My next work in progress is actually a test knit for dear Fran of Wool and Hearted. She is the creator of the most beautiful, one-of-a-kind bears made in a traditional way in France, and I just think her work is so beautiful, and I love following her progress and what she's doing, and it's not without its challenges. She's sometimes struggling with her health conditions, and my heart goes out to her because I also have previously dealt with health issues and know the ups and downs of trying to be creative whilst being busy with other work or your family, and it just isn't always easy. So sending love out to her right now. But also, I'm so happy that she's continuing on with this test knit right now. It's a little teddy bear cardigan. It's so cute. I'll maybe put a picture up of it for you from her Instagram. And it's just lovely. And she developed it for Ruth of Rain Cloud and Sage. Am I saying that right? I will put it down there for you. I feel like I might be getting that wrong. But anyway, she's coming out with a new yarn called, or she has a new batch of yarn called Nord coming out, and we're testing this pattern that Fran has developed for this yarn. And so I'm happy to be part of that group, and I'll show you my progress so far. I'm using Jamison Spindrift, and I'm in the middle of a row, which I told myself I wouldn't leave it like this before I recorded, but anyway, I forgot. So here we are. It's this cute little cardigan in progress, and it's striped. I had the option of doing stripes or leaving it plain, and of course I just love the stripes, so I went for the stripes. And it's a raglan construction, so keep an eye out for the pattern release. I'm not sure when she's going to release it exactly, but just watch her space, and when it's all tested and written up, I think she will publish it. So the colors I'm using are Twilight, which is this very beautiful, very, very beautiful blue with like pops or speckles of kind of a pinky, lavendery, maybe more like, I don't know what color that is, but it's kind of pink. So yeah, it's this beautiful blue. And I'm also working with this ivory, which is also speckled with a warm pink, which makes it very interesting. And yeah, when I'm knitting with this Jamison Spindrift, I feel like it's just wonderful. Like, the colors are not what they seem from the outside, like from a distance. They are more complex, kind of like Letslope or some other like heathered yarns, and I think that's just such a delight to work with. It's also very sticky. I think it's the stickiest yarn I've ever worked with, for sure. I thought it would be like Letslope, but it's stickier, and I can see why that really makes a beautiful color work effect, because like in painting, like with watercolor, when the water creates this mingling color effect, it just is so beautiful to us, I think. Just seeing the unpredictability of it, or just the way that it draws out different aspects of the color next to it. I think that's similar with sticky yarn, and I love working with it. And I think I would love to do a sweater with this someday. Maybe one of Marie Wallen's beautiful designs. I'm not sure. I will probably start with a hat or something small. But I'm just loving it. And so I'm glad I chose that for this test. And I'm just absolutely just loving this test knit. And I'm loving being part of a community, just a small community, to help someone else and to talk about knitting together and just have fun. So thank you, Fran, for including me, and yeah, I can't wait to see all the teddy cardigans, and I will definitely be showing off this one when it's finished on some unsuspecting teddy of Mabel's, probably. And yeah, it's so fun. Last, I wanted to talk about some of Mark's handspun, because he has gotten his spinning mojo back. I think he's got his wheel out. He in the living room, actually, at the sofa, or at the chair, his chair. And he's been spinning up some fiber that we found at our local yarn shop here. And it's a beautiful yarn shop. I'll link to it below. And the fiber that we've been using is Icelandic. And I have some behind me here. Let me see if I can get a skein up here for you. And let me see, we have a couple different colors here. We have this beautiful kind of warm gray that is very nice. I love this color. It's such a great neutral. And his spinning he's warming up again, so it's a little bit thick and thin. He tends to be very consistent once he gets into it, so that's pretty cool. But at the moment, we're still in the thick and thin, so I think we're warming up, and also just using a new fiber the Icelandic fiber is just so different to the other fibers that we were using before. So that's been fun. And here is another color, which is more of a rich brown, chocolatey color, which is also beautiful. And I think they would look really great together. So I'm not sure what I would do yet. I'm just kind of waiting to see where my creative juices flow. But it's just so fun to have him spinning again in the house, and he's spinning over there and I'm knitting over here, and Mabel's drawing at her easel. We're just the most creative family. No, it's just really soothing, I think, and peaceful to be a family that can sit quietly and create and just enjoy each other's company and work with our hands at the same time. So yeah, I will keep you updated on his spinning and if I decide to knit anything up with it. But yeah, it's just beautiful. I think he's starting to work with some Finnish yarn or some Finnish fiber now, Finnish top. So we'll see how that looks too. And I still have my eyes set, or my heart set on some beautiful dyed, like multicolor fiber that I could spin up. I have some actually in my stash, which I might pull out. It's just that it's a very long fiber, like staple, and I'm not sure if that's the best one to start with as a newbie spinner. If you have any thoughts on that, please feel free to leave a comment about what would be a great fiber. And if you have any recommendations here in the States for colorful fiber, that would be fun to spin for a newbie like me. Yeah, I'm always ready. I just don't know, kind of, now that we've moved, I don't know where to start. I feel like we kind of got our, toes wet in the UK and then we left. So I knew where to get some fiber there, but I'm still learning here. So let me know if you have any good leads. I'm sure there's plenty, but I just don't know. I just don't know yet. So I think that's it for me this time. It's been so good to check in again. I have been missing it so much, just chatting about yarn, connecting with people in the comments, and just with whatever you're doing, meeting new people, new fibery people. So please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this fun. I hope I'm back soon. We've got my little studio space starting to get set up, so I'm hoping it'll be pretty easy to come in and record. Yeah, and I have more knitting in my head, so I'm planning to do an episode with all of that coming up. There's a lot that I didn't share this time because I was like, okay, that's too much. So yeah, tune in next time and I will be sharing more. I hope you're enjoying all of your craft and making. If you're in a slump, I totally get it. Hang in there and we'll get through it together. I think one of the things that kind of brought me back was just coming to YouTube and seeing what other people were doing, or going on Instagram to see what's up. And even if I wasn't making, just kind of hanging out in the space of other creative people just did my heart well. And eventually I got there. So hang in there and yeah, enjoy the rest of summer, or I guess if you're coming into spring, enjoy that. We're going into autumn, which I'm so excited about. So if you're in the autumn mood like me, happy autumn coming up here. And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.